Well, I'm John, and I've been living with HIV for 41 years, and I've been involved with Speakers Bureau for about 8 years now, 7 or 8 years. And one thing that has really been a focus and something that's enriched my life, that experience with Speakers Bureau, is that it's one thing in my life that's given me a sense of purpose, and I mean that in a couple of different ways, different angles. The first one is when I've spoken to nurses or doctors or students, or in more recent times the police cadets, what I've found is that by sharing my personal story, and obviously it's been a very long journey going back to the early 80s, that I'm giving the people that are listening to my story an insight into my life, my personal life, and the complex issues I've had along the way, and so a deeper understanding. And what I've got back is genuine interest and empathy in my story, and compassion. And I think what's important with all that is that I think I'm contributing in a way to giving people a better understanding of what it's like to live with HIV, and also there's a hope in doing that it'll pave the way for positive people, including myself, to have a better experience in a medical setting, working with doctors and nurses, and also in the general community. So that's serving a great purpose, I think, that in a sense. Another sense of purpose it's had is that it's enabled me to deal with issues I've had going right back to the early 80s when I was first diagnosed. Things like the usual things, stigma, discrimination, being ostracised, and shame, which was a really big one back in the 80s and 90s, particularly before effective treatment came along. And there's still issues I deal with. I mean, stigma and discrimination, so within the gay community, is not quite at the level it was back then, because the fear has been reduced. It's more a chronic manageable disease rather than an instant death sentence. But there's still, I've had recent experiences with doctors and other people in the community where they've refused to give me treatment because they said, well, the big elephant in this room is your HIV, and they haven't wanted to continue to give me treatment, which is astounding. And I've had other issues where I've disclosed to long-term friends, even in the last 5 years, and it's been a deal breaker. And I'm thinking, gee, that's really, where's your education? So, and I think it's enriched my life because it's speaking in a public, to members of the public in a group setting. I think it's increased my self-confidence to talk to people generally, whether it's family gatherings in a small social setting with friends or whatever. It's increased my self-confidence, which I didn't have back in the earlier days. I think it was something where I just went into my shell. There was a lot of shame, and I think shame was was a big thing, and it's still something I carry. I still have issues with disclosure at various times. But I think going back to what I've gained out of being involved in Speakers Bureau is that it has enriched my personal life, and that it's given me confidence to communicate more effectively my feelings and my experiences. And I think I've had better relationships and better interaction as a result of being able to. And when I've, declared my status, instead of really fearing the consequence of doing that, I've had some very positive, supportive responses, which has been really, really great for me. So.